What's going on, everyone? Hope you are having a great day. So today I want to talk about something that you don't normally hear from Tundra owners, especially TRD Pro owners, and that is that I feel like the Michelins that come on the TRD Pro and the TRD Off-Road, which is the same tire, they are the LTX AT2 all-terrain tire. I feel like they are underrated and deserve a little more credit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go outside, we're going to take a look at them. I'm going to give you a couple points that I have on these tires, and then we're going to take it for a ride and talk a little bit more. So stay tuned. All right, so here are the Michelins that we are speaking of. Now, the first thing TRD Pro owners talk about when it comes to these tires is how soon they're going to take them off and put on something bigger and better. Now, I will agree with one thing right away. These tires do not necessarily fit the look for the TRD Pro. I will give you that. They're a little bit small. They don't necessarily look aggressive enough. And that is why all of the TRD Pro owners want to take these things off right away. But I'm going to kind of come at you today on a different angle, all right? One thing about these tires, and with TRD Pros, is a lot of times people who buy the TRD Pros don't necessarily off-road them all the time. Now, at the end of the day, we talk about gas mileage with the Tundra and everything, and these tires are actually, there's a good amount of tread on them. They're nothing crazy like we just talked about, but they do the job pretty well. When it rains out, they don't slide or anything. And this is my opinion, of course. I've had these tires on quite a few Tundras, but they don't really slide. They got good grip out there. I've never had a problem with them in snow. I had these on my 2014, and when I had my 2014, we went through a lot of snowstorms and some really bad weather, and these things actually did a great job. Now, I fill these at 35 PSI all the way around. No issues. The ride is very, very comfortable. It doesn't feel like they're heavy at all. You know, the BFG KO2s that I had on my other Tundra on the Platinum were great, and I love them. But they were a little bit noisy, and you can kind of feel the weight of them a little bit. But these glide along the road just fine, and they actually feel like they're a lot lighter than the BFG KO2s going from them to these. So at the end of the day, the look is what's missing here. That is the big thing, but the performance is there. Now, I'm sure if you take these things off-road and go crazy with them, you know, it might be a different story. You might want to get stuff with way more tread. But, you know, for what these things are probably going to be used for when you buy a TRD Pro, even if you do light off-roading, these would definitely get the job done. I mean, like I said, you know, they're not street tires per se, but like a lot of the TRD Pro owners feel, they just don't fit the look of what people want to go for with this truck. So I really want to hear what you guys think, but let's take it for a ride. So riding on these tires now for a little over a month, coming from the BFG KO2s, there are a couple things that stand out over everything else. And number one is how quiet they are. The BFG KO2s were a quiet tire compared to other all-terrains, but you definitely heard the road noise quite a bit, especially when you were braking. If you were coming from like a 55 mile an hour and you were trying to do, not necessarily a hard brake, but not the softest brake in the world, you would really, really hear them. In fact, when I was doing videos on supercharger noise and things like that and accelerations, people would call out the road noise that they would hear from the video. So, you know, these are a lot quieter than them, and they are a lot smoother than any other tire I've ever used on a Tundra, and I've used quite a few different tires. Like we say, the pros and cons that come with it, you really got to make a decision on what you want. If you're going for the look, there are a lot better looking tires out there, but as far as just everyday performance, the tires do the job, man. They do the job. They're great in the rain. Like I said, for me, they were really good in the snow. They were way better in the snow than I ever expected they would be. That was one of the great things. At low speed, no noise whatsoever, just nice and quiet. They feel a lot lighter than the BFG KO2s, plus with the TRD Pro wheels, the BBS ones are probably a lot lighter than the Ultra wheels that I had on the last truck, so that combo helps a lot. But just overall, this was kind of a pop-up video. I was driving home from work, and I just was realizing that these tires are not as bad as everyone makes them out to be. But I really want to hear your opinion on what you think. Now, also, at highway speeds, at 50, 55 mile an hour, even at low speeds, there really isn't anything bad about them. Now, some tires I've driven on, especially when you drive on like mud tires, which are totally in a different category, and I'm not trying to compare the mud tires to these. These are all-terrains, but, you know, they're on the lower end of an all-terrain compared to other things. But I will say that when you're at high speeds with these tires, you don't feel any side movement. A lot of times when you get tires with a lot of tread on them, you kind of feel the truck wanting to swim here and there. But these tires are great at just keeping the truck in a nice straight line. And I'm even talking all-terrains. I've had some all-terrains and driven in some vehicles with all-terrain tires that kind of make the truck feel a little, you know, wiggly down the road, if you will. But these are meant to be, and I really do enjoy the feel of them. Again, Pro, great feel, very good in weather, and you get a lot more than you think you'll get from the look. Because when you look at them, you're like, oh, they probably just put those tires on there for gas mileage reasons, which is what I would guess they are. You know, they don't want to put a major aggressive tire on here because the truck already gets pretty bad gas mileage, so they want to put a tire on here that will still maintain that gas mileage. As far as the TRD Pro goes, I do think that the TRD Pro should have a different tire on it than the TRD Off-Road. Just from a marketing standpoint, to make the TRD Pro a little more sought after, if you will, a little more unique, put on something a little bit different. But at the end of the day, I do understand why they put this tire or this type of tire on here, to keep the fuel mileage reasonable, instead of putting something ultra aggressive on there and then you're going to lose another mile or two MPG, and you know, that'll just be a lot more complaining. So at the end of the day, these tires aren't that bad. If you're someone who's going to go off-road a lot, and I'm talking like, you know, serious off-roading, you might want to rethink and get something a little more aggressive. But if you're someone who's in the market for a TRD Off-Road or a TRD Pro where these tires are on, you might want to, you know, pick up the truck first before you buy new tires. Drive it around for a few thousand miles and see what you think, because sometimes you just can't listen to other people. They're really not that bad of a tire. But I want to hear from both sides of the coin. What do you think? Do you like the tire? Do you dislike the tire? Do you have any good stories about it? Any bad stories about it? Weather related? Whatever. Let me know. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at tundra-dude34, tundra-dude34@gmail.com. I also want to hear from the dudes who took these tires off-road and what your thoughts were on them. I took these tires off-road on my 2014, and you know, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't anything crazy as far as off-roading goes, but you know, it was enough to require a little bit of an all-terrain, and they did fine. There wasn't any issues with them or anything. But let me know what you guys think. Take care, have a great day, and be safe.